Hey guys, I'm Glitter Valkyrie, and today we're going to summon for Legendary Micaiah. Micaiah is actually my second favorite female character from the Talia series, and I have been waiting for her to get a Legendary alt for the longest time, so I am super excited to pull for her today. So we will talk about this banner as we go along, but let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the plan for today is going to be to snipe colorless, and I fully acknowledge that that is a terrible idea on legendary banners, but all aboard the bad decision train because that is what we're going to do. Micaiah is actually the only character that I want in colorless, but she's one of my favorites. I really want to get her, so we are just going to make all the poor decisions. If you did not see the video where I pulled for Ashera, I actually got multiple copies, so I feel like I don't really need any more, even though she's a very strong unit. And although Edelgard is probably like the strongest character in the game, I actually have a crunchy Edelgard from some banner where she pity broke me, and I don't really use her very much. She's just not a character that I enjoy, and I really hate fighting against her, so on principle, I am not going to contribute and make like a +10 Edelgard. I just don't want to do it. So my hope is that we can get Micaiah really quickly, because we do have a special heroes banner coming up, and it's maybe going to be a dancer banner, and I do love my dancers, so I'm hoping that we can get Micaiah soon. And I guess if we don't, oh my goodness. Oh, we got crunchy Edelgard. There she is. All right, let's check IVs. And she is plus res. That is pretty much identical to the one that I have, but that is totally fine. So we will just keep going. And I think that if we don't have any colorless in a circle, we'll probably go for red next. And that's just because I love Lilina. I would love to get a better boon for her than plus speed. And Morgan is also in that pool, and I would love some copies for that menace. And I guess Sothis is there as well, and she is Times Pulse, which is really good. And I guess if we don't have any reds, we could also go for blues. And in that pool, I'd probably want to get Farina the most. She is my favorite of the sisters from FE7. I was never able to get her on her debut banner, so I would absolutely love to get a copy. And there's also Naga in that color, and I feel like most people don't want to get her, but I think she's super underrated, and mine's actually like +5. So I would be totally fine with getting a copy. And as for green, I feel like there's some really strong characters, and then there's Thrasir. And I just don't really want to get Thrasir, so I'll probably try to avoid greens. So I guess that kind of covers everybody. And we can go ahead and answer some viewer questions. And as always, if I did not get your question, I am so sorry. I will try to do it in a future one. And if you think of a question that you'd like to ask me, you can just leave in the comments with #question, and I will add your question to my list. So our first question today comes from Miguel D&D, and they ask, what do you think of the Raiden Shogun, and will you pull for her in Genshin? And what is the best video game story that you have ever experienced? Okay, so at the time of recording this is actually the night that we get the update, so I have not had the chance to do the next part of the story or do anything with the new patch, so I'm kind of reserving judgment at this point. What I have seen of the Shogun so far, I do not like, just because of what she did to Toma. He is a character that I adore, and she came for him, so I really don't like that. But just from like the teaser trailer, I feel like she could have a redemption arc. I know she has a sad backstory in there somewhere, so I'm kind of holding out hope that she will be a good character. And as for plans for her banner, I think the plan right now is to do like 10 or so pulls to see if maybe we can get Kujo Sara, because that is a character that I do like. But I think that I would prefer to get Kokomi over her, so I think that we're just gonna kind of see how it goes. And then as for your question about the best video game story, I would have to say probably Xenoblade 1. And although I do like Xenoblade 2 a little bit more just overall, I think that 1 has a better story. If you have not played that game, I really recommend it. It's just fantastic. Oh, okay. That is a Lin, okay. I have gotten so many Lins over the years that if I didn't feed like a bunch to other characters, she could probably be +10. And she is plus HP, so I'll be merging her. I really regret feeding a bunch of characters Swift Sparrow too, because we obviously have much better skills now. But we will just go ahead and keep going. And I think that I did finish answering the question from Miguel, so thank you. I think it was a lucky one. And we can answer our next one, and this comes from Double R. And they ask, what language do you want to learn the most? There are a couple that I would love to learn. I'd love to learn Italian and Spanish and also Japanese. And that's really just because I would love to be able to appreciate the sub rather than the dub. I don't know if it'll happen because I don't have a lot of free time on my hands, and I feel like Japanese in particular is a very difficult language to learn. But if I had like all the time in the world, those are the languages that I would love to learn. But thank you for that great question. And the next one that we have today comes from Mint Flake, and they ask, what are your thoughts on the 4-star special units added to the pool? I assume you're at least happy that you won't ever be pity broken by a Surtur ever again. Well, you're completely correct. I am so happy that he can never pity break me again. And I do think that it's an improvement to the pool. I do think that there are some characters in the 5-star pool that are still pretty rough if you get pity broken by them, like Fallen Berkut. I really don't want to be pity broken by him, or Hubert. But overall, it is definitely an improvement, and I'm happy with what they did. But thank you for that great question. And the next one that we have today comes from Blush Bakery, and they ask, what kind of seasonal would Faye give to Sedith and Flame as a duo? So this is a duo that I would absolutely love to see in the future, and I think it is a possibility. And I would love to see them as a summer duo, maybe going fishing, and that's really because of their supports. If you have not done them, fishing is something that is very important to them for reasons that I won't spoil. And I think that it would be just so adorable if they had a duo going fishing. But thank you for that great question. And oh, maybe this is a Farina, who knows? Okay, Smoke, please be Farina. It's Perry. All right, let's go ahead and answer another question. And, I had 2 similar questions from Blue Gang Hero and Anna the Money Lover. And they both asked me if I have a favorite anime, and if I don't watch anime, if I have a favorite cartoon. And Anna also asked me about uploading Genshin content to the channel. So to answer the question about anime, this might be surprising because I love Fire Emblem, but I really do not watch much anime. It does not have a ton of appeal for me. I think that my favorite is probably Sailor Moon from when I was a kid. I also did watch one recently, though. I did watch Danganronpa, and I had a lot of issues with it, mostly because I am someone, I just can't handle watching suffering. It really, really bothers me. And there was a lot of violence and suffering in that, so although I did enjoy the story, overall, I really couldn't handle the suffering. So overall, not a huge fan of anime. And as for your question about Genshin content, now that it's almost confirmed that Toma's going to be here, I think that we can do that for the channel. I'm really hoping that he has a good banner, but I am prepared to make some really poor decisions for him. So maybe I will record it. But thank you for those great questions. Okay, please be Micaiah. 3-star. And we get a Matthew. All right, so let's go ahead and pull this next one. I have to say, I'm actually pretty tired of pulling colorless after the CYL experience and the 6%. But you know what? We do what we have to do for the characters that we love, and that is a Merlinus. All right, let's go ahead and answer another one, and this comes from Mert Karaka. And they ask, what kind of skills would you like to see on a reworked legendary banner? The biggest one for me right now is Hector. He is a legendary that I still use to this day, and I do want to get him to +10. And I would love to see him get an upgrade to Ostian Pulse, because I feel like it has the potential to be really, really good. I do think that they will upgrade his B skill as well. And then another character that I would love to see is Ephraim, mostly because I just really love Ephraim. I feel like his B skill could use an upgrade as well as a good O. All right, we got Ashera. This is not unexpected. And we get a Blessing. And she is plus attack, which is actually amazing because the many Asheras that I got in her debut banner were all plus HP, so that's really, really good. So let's back out. And I think that we're going to be silly and just do a little bit more because I really, really want to get Micaiah. She is effective against so many things that I feel like it's really worth it. So getting back to this lucky question from Mert, I would love to see Hector and Ephraim get upgrades, and I also would really like to see Lucina get one in the future too. But thank you for that very lucky question. And the next one that we have today comes from Argos Loof, and they ask, what is your favorite and least favorite bird? I don't know if you're referring to like Fire Emblem or just like birds. So if we're talking about Fire Emblem, my favorite bird is Raisin, and I don't have a least favorite. I really like them all. And if we're talking about like birds in the world, I really like hummingbirds. I think they're little and cute. And my least favorite is probably a pigeon. And I'm sorry if I answered that incorrectly, but thank you for that great question. And the next one that we have today comes from William Rivera, and they ask, if you could do a sequel to any Fire Emblem game, and I think you're going to say Sacred Stones, which one would it be and who would be the main protagonist? And do you ever think we'll see non-seasonal units for Bruno and Freyr? Okay, so you were 100% right. My answer would be Sacred Stones. And that's really because I feel like there are still stories to tell. And who would be the better protagonist than Lara Shell? I feel like she is such a fun character. I feel like she does have a lot of fans, and she would be an amazing protagonist. And then as for seasonals for Bruno and Freyr, I think it's definitely possible, particularly for Bruno, because I feel like his story is not finished in Fae. And I feel like they could probably give him a pretty good kit and people would pull. But thank you for those great questions. Okay, please be Micaiah. Okay, Smoke. It's Riss. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, we have a couple orbs left. Maybe we can still get her. And let's go ahead and answer this next question from Roy Fan Fire Emblem. They ask, what are your top 10 favorite characters in Genshin Impact? Oh gosh, there are so many that I love so much, but hands down my favorite is Childe. I love him forever. But the other characters that I really love are Toma and definitely Jean. I still want to get her. I still don't have her on my main. I love Zhongli and I love Ayaka and Keqing. I do love Venti as well. And I really like Razor and Barbara, and I love Diluc, and oh, I love Chi-Chi too. And that might be more than 10, but those are the characters that I love the most. But thank you for that great question. All right, let's grab this next colorless. And our next question today comes from Matt Moore, and they ask, what makes Camilla a bad parent in Fates? And this is in regards to my statement in a previous video that the characters in Fates are bad parents. So it's not really Camilla in particular that is a bad parent. My issue is really with how kids were handled in that game. I just feel like parents had babies and then they just sent them to like the Deep Realm daycare and they became adults in like 5 days. And I really hated the way they were treated. So it's not that Camilla is a bad parent in particular. I just don't like the way they did all the kids. I actually really like her, and she was Soleil's mom in most of my playthroughs. But just generally, I don't like the way kids were handled in Fates. But thank you for that great question. And we get Nazama. Okay, so let's back out. We only have enough for like 1 or 2 more circles. And let's go ahead and answer another one. And this comes from Lopez073. And they ask, do you ever think we'll get Legendary Arvis in Fae? Oh, okay. Well, at least we got something, right? All right, let's check IVs. And she's also plus attack. That is really good. So I feel like we should probably just do this full circle and call it after that. But getting back to this lucky question from Lopez, I don't know if he'll ever be a legendary, but I do think that he's popular enough to get an alt at some point. And I personally think he'd be really cool as an armored tome unit. Maybe it'll happen, who knows? But I do think he's popular enough to be seen at some point again in Fae. But thank you for that great question. And we get a Sheeta. Okay, let's see if we can get a Farina. 3-star. And we get a Shanna. All right, let's see if we can end this with a female Morgan. Okay, smoke. It's an echidna. All right, well, I did not really get anything that I wanted today. But, you know, you win some, you lose some, and I did get some really good characters. So I do want to wish you all the best of luck on this banner. I really hope that you get everything that you are looking for. And again, thank you so much to everybody that submitted questions. So as always, thanks so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.